Hello, everybody. It's me again, Gina, on AetherFlows podcast. And with me today is a repeat guest. She's been on the show a few times and she's awesome. And that's why I have her on the show because she's great. And her name is Tenesha Lewis.
Lewis. Yes.
My brain, I apologize, guys. My brain is a little fried today. It's the geomagnetics today are like off the hook, and I always end up getting like some icky sort of headache with that. So anyway, so bear with me. So this is Tenesha, and I'm gonna let her introduce herself because I haven't talked to her in a while. It's been a minute, and she's had like a complete transformation from the last time I talked to her. So with that, here's Tenesha.
Yes. So again, my name is Tenesha and I am a psychic medium, although I'm trying to steer clear of the word psychic, but I'll tell you a little bit about that in a second. But I'm a traveling psychic medium in my van. So you can see the windows there. I'm currently in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Yes. And
That's
I
fun.
forgot to mention, I travel with my cat, which is awesome. So
Oh
she's a
yeah.
half Maine Coon. So yeah, my whole goal, the whole reason why I wanted to start traveling was because I wanted to start learning from different people that knew more than I did and to teach. And whatever
Mm.
comes up, like I really do believe in divine timing, divine intervention, just going with the flow, listening to the messages from our spirit family, and just like avoiding resistance and allowing. That's my main thing. So before I even start talking about why I decided to do this, I just want to say that I'm extremely grateful for everything that I have right now, even though, living in a van does not seem like it's very glamorous. But to be honest with you, I think quite the opposite now compared to what people keep telling me. They're like, I wish I could do that. How do you do that? And I'm like, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube constantly talking about it. So, shameless plug there. But I think the best thing for me to bring up right now is, why I'm doing this. And that is because a couple of months ago, let's see, I think specifically maybe 6 months ago, I got the idea to go ahead and start traveling after deciding to ask my husband for a divorce. And
Mm.
I don't think I'll go too much into why I'd asked him for a divorce. At the end of the day, we just needed to separate. And I knew that within my soul. Finally made the
Right.
decision to go ahead and ask for it. And then let's see. After that, I was like, okay, so what do I do now? I'm asking for a divorce, but I don't know where I'm going. Am I staying here? Like, are we just gonna
Hmm.
cohabitate with each other? This is awkward, you know? And
Right.
then they were like, remember, you wanted to travel. So I was like,
Mm.
oh yeah, you're right. I do want to travel. Well, how the heck am I going to do that? Like, I have to get an Airbnb. Like, that's expensive. And I was like, you
Hmm.
know what? I know how it's going to work out. I'm just going to allow. I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to ask my soul team for assistance, and they're going to give me assistance because they always have. And everything I've ever wanted, they've always helped. So why would
Yeah.
this be any different, right? And I have cat hair everywhere. So if you see me touching my face, it's because it's all over me.
Right. Oh yeah, the
So
Maine Coon. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I've gotten to the point where I'm so used to being covered in cat hair. I wake up in the morning, it's in my eyes, in my locks. I don't care anymore. I'm just like, whatever. I'm becoming one with my cat. So, um,
It's okay. I'm covered in dog hair. Don't worry about it.
exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I would say 6 months ago, I decided to go ahead and start traveling. And then that's when everything started falling into place. All of a
Mm.
sudden, I would say January this year, I actually, let me back up a little bit. Before that, I asked them, I was like, how am I going to come up with the money to travel? And they're like, you need to get on TikTok and you need to get on TikTok live and start doing readings again. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. That sounds
Really?
horrible. Yeah, I didn't want to do
You
that.
didn't want because you're
N-
so good and you're very prolific as well.
Thank you. I
Like you do,
appreciate
you're
that.
on it. Like you do it all the time, and you're so like you just seem like a natural.
Well, it turns out I am a natural, but I didn't know that at the time. I was just like, this is something that
Yeah.
I do every once in a while. I'm all right, but I don't see a future in it. It's just something
Hmm.
cool. Like most of us, we're like, yeah, I have these abilities, but I'm still going to go to work on Monday. So,
Right.
anyways, I decided to listen this time. Actually, I listen a lot. But anyways, I listened and I went on TikTok
Mm.
and I started recording. And then I went from, I think it was like 80 people, 80 viewers, and then it went to 150. And I was doing readings back to back to back to back. I mean, the chat feed was just moving, and I'm going, like rapid fire, psychic readings. And then that turned into, okay, Tanisha, now that you're used to doing these psychic readings and medium, by the way, I was connecting with people from the other side, didn't even know I had the
Mm.
ability to do that. Um,
Oh, you know what? Didn't
yeah,
that happen after our session together?
did it? I don't remember.
I think so. I think you texted me and you're like, "Oh yeah, and also I'm doing this now."
Probably. It's honestly like so much has happened. I don't
Yeah,
remember. I it's probably, yeah, that sounds about right.
right.
But I started doing mediumship as well. That's why I call myself a psychic medium now. Um but the most important thing was that, let's see, where did I leave off? Hmm. So
You
after the
listened.
reading, huh?
You listened. That's
I
the
listened,
important part.
yes. Yes, I
Yeah.
did. I did listen, but something happened after that. And that was, oh, they told me that I needed to slow down with the readings and
Mm,
focus on teaching. So I was like,
mhm,
okay, how do I get some sort of framework or, structure together to teach this stuff? And then it started off with me talking about psychic abilities, but that just didn't sound right. Because when you hear the
mhm,
word psychic, it sounds like you are different from someone else. But I know what's true and that we all have these abilities. So I was like,
mhm,
okay, let me stop for a second. Just because they gave me the direction doesn't mean I need to have all the pieces together right now to start right
right.
now. I just need
Mhm,
to wait for more information. So I waited, kept doing readings, back to back on all platforms that I'm on: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And I got more information. And that information, they said, don't forget about divinity, our divine selves. I started reading books by Greg Braden and by RJ Spina, and they speak about the superhuman mind. I'm sorry, the
mhm,
super conscious mind and being superhuman. And I was just like,
mhm.
wow, that's so interesting. So we are all these divine beings. And then I heard the word divine senses. And I was like, oh, and then I heard these senses are paired with the ones that we use on a daily basis, our five senses, but they're
Mhm.
more. These sensors are connected to the God frequency, to source energy. And I'm like, holy crap. So we are all psychic. We all have the ability to connect with the other
Oh, yeah.
side. And I was just like,
Mhm.
that is amazing. I need to be telling people this. And they're like, that's it. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh. So
Yeah.
long
Yeah,
story short,
people don't think they have these abilities.
no,
So,
they don't. And there's so many different reasons why entertainment industry, um, belief systems, religion, family, whatever, there's a lot of fear. Or what's
yeah.
really common with the people that I work with is they saw something that scared them and they didn't want to see it again.
Oh.
Yep,
Oh, okay.
that
I
happens.
mean, that makes sense. I've seen a lot of scary stuff too, and especially if you're younger, it can totally shut
Hmm.
you down.
Yep, it's usually when you're younger
Yeah.
because that's when you're the most sensitive.
Mhm.
So you get shut
Got
down
it.
or you shut it down and it becomes a block and you have to work on that block. So going back a second here is I'm teaching this now and it's called Awaken Your Inner Oracle. But really cool realization that I had the last couple of days is that name no longer resonates with me because Oracle, Awaken Your Inner Oracle, it still sounds like it's very much in this one small sector that only resonate with people that are into spirituality and love and light. But this affects everyone, whether you're a
Mhm.
lawyer, um uh, you know uh aerospace scientist, whatever. We have these abilities, we're supposed to use them. One, it's our birthright. Two, it helps us make decisions in our life. Three, it
Oh, yeah.
helps us discern what information being provided to us is true or not. That's
Mhm.
important in the coming times, where we're going in the world right now. There's so many reasons why this needs to connect with everyone. So they're telling me to change the name, and I will
You
update you on
haven't.
that.
Oh, I wanna know now.
I know, right?
What could it be? Oh, well, I mean, it's like you said, there are so many reasons that we shut down, programming, distortions, ancestral patterns that tell you that you're not enough, you're not good enough, that you need to really I love well, I don't actually love it, but one of my patterns, ancestral patterns that has been very sticky to me has been the need to suffer, like the need to work
Mm.
really hard for your I don't know, for your abundance, for your prosperity. And so yeah, that's one that I'm working on right now is to allow more flow, allow more ease, more grace into my life and more abundance as opposed to like having this, they call it a work ethic. And I was so proud of my work ethic when I was a
Mm-hmm.
kid. I don't even, like, at the time, I didn't even really know where it came from. But I know now it's from, my mother daughter line, my father daughter line,
Yeah,
and just this long line of people who are really, really had to work so hard. But yeah, so that's one of my current projects.
I
Hence
love
the
that.
quitting my job and stepping into my purpose more. So,
Yes. And
yeah.
every time, and this is what's left out, every time we do a little bit of shadow work, that little bit is like slowly unkinking the water hose and allowing that energy,
Mhm.
that super consciousness to flow through. Because
Right.
again, this is connected to God frequency. Like we all have this within us and we are so powerful. We're literally like Marvel characters walking around. We can do everything that we see on television, and I'm
Yep.
not going to go into why they're showing us that, why Stan Lee specifically made these characters, but I just want to go
People are
back
good at
and
channeling.
exactly, you know what I mean? Like people are
Everyone.
it's so yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. So, anyways, that is a recent realization. Me teaching these things, and I'm also doing in-person workshops and online classes. One of the reasons why I'm traveling is to do that as well. So every state that
Okay.
I go to, my goal is to do an in-person workshop.
Mm.
So it's pretty cool, and I'm learning. I'm learning as well. I'm learning to start reframing the way that I look at some of these terms. I got really hung up on the word psychic at first because it was all we know. We've heard it a million times. Why not settle on that word? But that word
Mm.
is very limiting. We're,
Oh, for sure. For
yeah,
sure
yeah,
it
we're
is.
beyond being psychic. We are divine. We are limitless. We have
Mhm.
divine senses. So my goal is to teach people how to use them and why it's important to even learn.
So, are you, like, as far as your teaching goes, um, is all the information kind of like channeled? Do you get it all from your teams?
Yes, I have to, and it's a lesson for me to wait for the information again because I'm very go go go. I have a big work ethic as well.
Okay.
So when as soon as I get an idea, I want to just run with it.
Mhm.
And I have to challenge myself and say, okay, great idea. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to put that on the shelf and then go do something else. So
Mm.
that's what I do. And yeah, so basically everything's channeled. I actually had to challenge myself even more because I started the classes as one-on-one sessions because it was easier for me to focus on one person and to tell them,
Mm.
hey, this is what I'm hearing for you, as opposed to having a class of 10 people or so and then having to give information or create share information from my guides that will resonate with everyone.
Hmm.
So it's pretty cool.
That's interesting. So how do you coordinate that stuff? Like, you go to a different state or a different city or whatever, and you just put it up on social media that you're having a workshop and
Exactly, I've come to the
okay.
realization that when I ask for something, and I ask for something pretty much every few days, maybe a week or something, um after that every decision that I make is a direct message from spirit.
Hmm.
Every decision I make. So if they tell me, Tanisha, you need to go on Facebook really quick and look through Facebook communities and
Mhm.
see if there are anyone posting about an event that they're having and see where the event's being held. See if that space is big enough for you and etc. I literally follow the breadcrumbs that I'm given.
Mm.
And I've realized that one, that's the way we're supposed to be doing it instead of
Mhm.
resistance is basically allowing. So that's what I'm doing.
Agreed.
Yeah.
How tell me a little bit about your journey with trust. Like, how, I mean, you tell me that, like, spirit's talking to me and I
Hmm.
follow everything that they tell me to do. It's like, how, for someone who maybe doesn't hear spirit, or someone who isn't really so much in touch with their gut feelings, like, what was your journey with trust? How
Oh, I
did you
love
get to where
that.
you are?
Yeah, so this is actually part of something that I get asked every single day. So thank you for bringing that up. I
Oh
like
yeah.
to call it a dominant divine sense. So when I mention divine senses, they're basically, again, the senses that we're given, that we were born with, that we don't use, that are basically calcified because of, the matrix conditioning us not to use it. Anyways, so these divine senses that we have a dominant sense that we've actually been using. We just didn't realize it, or most of us don't realize it. So
Mm.
think about it. Have you been seeing things, hearing things, feeling things that you cannot explain? That is your dominant sense. That's how you're mainly going to receive messages from the other side. And when you take that, you can say, oh, okay, so let me focus on that right now. I'll work on it, everything else later on. But let me focus on this one particular sense because I see things. So, okay,
Mhm.
let me go ahead and ask my spirit team this particular question, whatever it is. Maybe you have some sort of block that's blocking you from strengthening your abilities. So you say, you know what, help me remember. And then all of a sudden you start seeing a particular event that happened in your life in the past that you completely forgot about. And I'm
Mm.
using that as an example because that's what happened to me. I actually felt like there was something that I was missing before I knew anything about divine senses, before I had all these answers, before I trusted myself and my guides. I was like, I
Mhm.
feel like there's something missing. Grandma, who passed away 20 something years ago, helped me remember. And
Hmm.
that night, when I asked that question, the morning, I woke up, right when I woke up in the morning, I remember two events, and they were traumatic
Mhm.
events. And if you'll allow me, I will love to talk more about it.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not going to go into detail, but the first event was when I was 12 or 13. I wanted to leave the earth early.
Mm.
And I'm not sure if I told you this or not. I might have mentioned it in the past, but I wanted to leave early, and I sat down with my mom and my uh you know assistant principal, and unfortunately neither said anything. My assistant principal was like, tell your mom, and my mom just sat there and didn't say anything to me.
Yeah.
So at that point I had to go to my room, or at least I decided to go to my room. About 5 minutes later, I sat on my bed, shut the door,
Mhm.
and I heard this voice that sounded just like my voice, but it was more wise and it was more sure of themselves. And they said, Tanisha, your mother didn't meet the expectations that you had for her, but what can you take from the interaction? And I said, I can take that my mom's a really great listener, and that I really felt comfortable speaking to her and getting all of these feelings that I've been holding inside out of my system. And I
Mhm.
continued to do that with my mom. And then she started opening up to me until she passed when I
Aw.
was 31. So it was in that moment that I realized that there is an inner voice that we have, an inner guidance system, inner compass, higher self, whatever you want to call it, that has been
Yeah.
with us our entire lives, that is simply waiting for us to ask for help, even if it's a
Mm.
subconscious asking. Because I didn't say it out loud. I was just like thinking to myself, okay, what do I do now?
Yeah.
So go
I
ahead.
have a question about the interaction with your mom. Did you ever end up talking about that afterwards? Because I feel like that would harbor like if I were to be that vulnerable with my mom, especially at that age, and to get no response, I feel like I would have harbored so much resentment. So I'm just wondering, like, as a little side note, did you ever end up resolving with your mom?
What's really great, first of all, thank you for asking that. But what's really great about what happened is another conclusion that I came to when I was sitting on that bed in the bedroom was that my mom could not, at that point in her awareness and consciousness, give me what I needed in that moment because of her own wounds. Again,
Right.
I'm 12 years old, and this is what's coming up in my mind.
I
So,
those
and I'm,
thoughts, I think, took me 40 some years to even come to that conclusion because I had so much resentment, but
yeah.
that I couldn't even be, objective. But yeah, at 12 years old, that's incredible.
That was me listening. That was my
Yeah.
higher version of me. The I don't even know what to call it. I would say the me that's closest to source energy, the me that was grasping, or I'm sorry, not grasping, but providing the lower version of me answers and help and assistance and guidance. So
Mm.
but to answer your question, I never brought it up to my mom. I actually, if you remember, I didn't remember for like 15 years.
Mm.
This particular event came up in my maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
So I'm 35 now. So
And
yeah,
your
it
mom
took.
has passed.
My mom's
So
passed.
did you ever have you ever talked to her about it from the other side?
And to be honest with you, I don't think I have. Oh wait, you know what?
Yeah.
I did one day, and I told her that I forgave her. I
Mm.
told her that I forgave her. Yes, I did. I was having a moment. My ears are ringing. I love that. I'm having a moment right at one of the days I was having a moment, and I decided to go ahead and talk to my mom. And I forgave her for that, and I forgave her for the things that happened with my siblings as well. And she tried her best, to be honest with you. It's just, she
Yeah.
had her own wounds and she was very closed off, like a lot of older parents are in that generation. My mom's
Mm.
was born in 1970, no, I'm sorry, 1962.
Mm.
So her generation, you didn't talk about mental illness or anything like that, and trauma.
Oh yeah.
So
Exactly.
now,
Yeah.
quickly, the second event was me being in high school and being sexually assaulted by a group of
Mm.
guys. And I didn't realize after all of this happened, I had no idea until literally like a year ago or 2 years ago, when I remember when this happened, that I am a what survivor, but in your life early survivor. I don't really want to say the word. And then
Oh, that's fine.
also a sexual assault survivor. So I was like, holy crap, I would have never given myself those titles. Why am I not advocating more? Why am I not talking about this more? So
Right.
yeah, I had to come to terms with it being actually serious, because for a while I was like, it's not that serious. No, it is very serious.
It's it's weird because I feel like it's almost been, I mean, this is going to sound kind of messed up, but it almost sounds a little like, seems like it's been normalized a little bit in our
Hmm.
culture. And like, that saddens me to say that. But that is such an incredible amount of trauma. And I mean, I understand that these lessons are for our highest good and that, everything happens for a reason. But that's a lot of shit. Like, that's a lot of stuff for a kid or for anyone to go through. So, I mean,
Yeah,
thank you for telling us this story, because
of
so many
course.
people, this happens to so many people. That's why I feel like it's been normalized, because it's like
Right.
I don't it's yeah, it's so prevalent in our society. So, yeah, I mean, people need to speak up more about that stuff for
Right.
sure.
And the most important thing, and this is what I love about when you review your story and then reframe what happened, the most important thing isn't actually what happened, it's how you realizing what type of identity and personality was created afterwards. After
Mhm.
the high school incident, I started covering up. I started hanging out with the LGBT community because I felt safe there. I became a
Mhm.
part of that. I loved it, and
Mhm.
it didn't stop until my early 30s. And I'm like, wait a second. So it's that serious because it became a part of me. So I had to
Mhm.
go back and say, okay, this is the truth in the situation from a very bird's eye point of view. My mom could not be there for me because of her own wounds. I
Right.
covered up and started having issues with insecurity because of that event in high school. So when we can
Mhm.
define the reality and the truth of our traumas, then we can say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and heal this part of me, and that's what we need to do. And I do want to say this really quickly here. I don't, it's not fully necessary to go back and heal all of your wounds at one time. Some people have really traumatic that's happened to them, things that have happened. So please take that with a grain of salt. You can also do that in your current day to day. What triggers are
Mhm.
coming up when you're at work, when you're driving, when
Oh,
you're
yeah.
with your children? What patterns are you
Mhm.
noticing? So,
Yeah, I mean, it's shadow work is a lifestyle. I almost wanna get a t-shirt that says that. Shadow work is a lifestyle, because I
mhm,
mean, that's the name of the game, is recognizing that your external reality is a reflection of your internal reality.
mhm,
And that's not to say that like everything is your fault or you're a bad person because horrible stuff goes on in the world. It's all of us, it's the whole collective evolving out of the 5,000 years of whatever, like all the crap that like the whole planet's been going through for so long. Like, we need to evolve out of that. And the way to do that is by transmuting this stuff, aka shadow work. So,
mhm.
like, I also feel when us as individuals start to recognize what this stuff is and we start to heal our own wounds, we actually heal so much for the collective. Like, we're doing collective
Yes.
shadow work at the same time by
Yes, that
doing this
is
with ourselves.
exactly. That is, and I love that you said that because it's the truth. Some of the times, like when I work with someone and I can't just get through to them exactly, like they really keep harping on what has been done to them. And
Mm,
everyone, does this and all these external forces and stuff like that. I'm just like, remember, it's not just about you.
mm-hmm.
It's not just about you. Every decision that you make causes a ripple in unity consciousness. You want to make sure that ripple is positive. So,
Right.
what can you do to leave the legacy that is, beneficial to the collective? So, because legacy has nothing to do with the children that you have, it has everything to do with every decision that you make.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Yeah. And like harboring all of these resentments towards, family members or so and so did this and that to you.
yeah.
Is so damaging to your physical health, to your mental health, to your emotional health, not even to say like energetically. Holding on to that stuff is just it's so tiring. It drains your energy and you get sick and it's just not good for you.
Hmm.
So I think I'll speak only for myself. I feel like after learning about shadow work and forgiving myself. I mean, that's a huge that's all of it because I am you, you are me, we are everything. So forgiving ourselves is forgiving everyone. And so I feel like that and self-love,
Yes.
those are like the
Yes.
absolute foundations. If we don't learn how to do that, like we're not going to get anywhere, you
That's
know?
the truth. That is exact. It's so funny that you use those words because I see the same thing, that self-love is the foundation. Because some people will ask me, what do I do? What's the first step? And I say, you have to love yourself, because in loving
Mm.
yourself, and but I mean myself, I mean your I am presence, the self that is closest to source and your
Your
divine
entire
version.
collective.
Yes.
You're not just one consciousness, you are a conglomerate,
Yeah.
and you're
Not your
connected to everyone else. So,
Exactly. Not your
yeah, it's a lot.
character that you've created, the avatar that you've created, your
Right.
actual self. So, anyways, when you love that part of you, then what follows is forgiveness. When you love that part of you, you love everyone else, and then you're able to forgive them as well. And it's just this
Mhm.
nice, amazing momentum that happens. But it's also easier said than done. You have to do
Oh
the
my
work
gosh.
and like you
Yeah,
know,
right.
it's
Right. It's
amazing.
yeah, and I mean, I only learned about shadow work maybe a year ago and just
Yeah.
man, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. You know what else is a lot is watching these videos all the way through, watching myself, and that's been a big lesson in I don't know, self-esteem, confidence, self-judgment, self-rejection. Oh, man, I never used to watch these videos. I don't usually watch them all the way through, but I have watched a couple all the way through and
Mhm.
just my homework to myself was to watch one of these videos and then to like write down a list of all the things you thought were great. Like all of your qualities, all of my qualities. And at first it was just so painful. I hated looking at myself on the video. I didn't like my mannerisms. I thought I didn't really have much to say. But the more you do it, the more you realize, hey, there's something in there. Like you're doing this for a reason, and then you start to see like you're actually pretty freaking smart, you know that? And like it
Yes.
snowballs. It really does.
Yes,
It gets
absolutely.
easier.
No, like it's a confirmation for you, because I know exactly what you're talking about. I rewatch my
Mhm.
Instagram lives. And I love
Mm.
doing it because in the moment when I'm speaking, I'm thinking to myself, I don't feel like I'm getting my point across. But I just keep
Mm.
doing it. And then when I rewatch the video, I'm like, oh, my point was definitely getting across. I was just having a moment of imposter
Mm.
syndrome, and thinking that I
Yeah.
wasn't actually resonating with anyone. But no, people were there, and there was attendees for a reason, because they were listening to what I had to say. Because what I had
Mhm.
to say resonated with them. And that's all that matters.
Right. Yeah, and you don't have to use the fancy spiritual community language or anything like that either. That was one of my big kind of stumbling blocks. I was like, "But I don't sound like a spiritual person."
Oh,
You know
interesting.
what I mean? More imposter syndrome. Yeah.
No,
So,
I love when
anyway.
people give new terms to the things that we've heard a million times, which is the
Mm,
reason why I'm steering clear of the word psychic so much, not just because I don't resonate with it, but because I'm
mm.
sick of hearing it. So, like, it means so much more than just, Miss Cleo, which we've been talking about it for the longest time. So instead, I say you have divine senses. You have abilities that will allow you to connect with those from the other side. Can you believe, like, you could go home from work, sit on your sofa, turn on the TV. You want to talk to grandma who passed away 20 years ago? You could talk to her. She's sitting right
Hmm.
there. Matter of fact, you could
Yeah,
probably see her depending on your dominant divine sense. But,
for sure. Yeah, like people think they have to. I think it's funny when people are like, I have to go to the cemetery and talk to my relative. It's like they're not there. What are you like? What are you talking about? Um, yeah, I've noticed in myself lately. I've been seeing like different stuff, which is interesting. Um, I've been seeing. I saw the other night. What was it? I went out. So you know how I have a connection to the Sasquatch people.
Yes.
We've
Amazing.
talked about that. Yeah, it's pretty it's pretty wild. Um, I went out to the woods the other night after work because I like to go and like clear my energy and talk to the woods and just be in the dark. I love it. People don't like the dark, and I used to be really afraid of the dark too, but now it just makes me feel so good. And so I went out there and it was a really clear sky, and I've seen flashes from, my star people friends, and it was really nice. It made me feel so good. I was just like, awesome. Thank you, trees. Thank you, forest. Thank you for that. Thank you for the energy. Thanks for the connection. And I got in my car and I started to drive home, and I got really dizzy. I almost had to pull over, but I could tell it was like a frequency change sort of thing. And, because like my hearing went like, got really high, and like I got really, like my head will tingle and I'll get kind of dizzy. So, I got home and I got out of the van and I looked up at the sky because I have the Big Dipper like right above my driveway. And I was just looking at it because it was so pretty. And then out of the corner of my eye, I see something move like this. And I looked and I thought it was a jogger at first. It was this big person running, but it was like a weird sort of like almost like as if they had a limp or something, or a
Hmm.
hunch. It was like hunched over and kind of like and like exaggerated. It was very quick, and like it was completely black, but it just went across my yard. And I was like, that's weird. It's weird that a jogger would be out. It's like midnight and like 8
Hmm.
degrees outside. Like,
Oh my
and then I
gosh,
was
that's
like,
crazy.
"Oh, wait a second. Okay, it was probably my buddies. It was probably them."
Mm.
And I noticed I thought about it later, and I was like, I didn't hear any sound. Like there's crunchy snow everywhere. So I definitely would have heard like someone running through my yard through the snow. And
Right.
but yeah, I haven't seen that yet. That was new.
That's amazing. I love that you have that connection. And I think I remember telling you before that I plan on going to Mount Shasta area to see
Oh
if
yeah.
they'd be willing to connect with me. And then
Oh, I'm sure they
hopefully,
will.
yeah, like I want to just record my experience, not them, but my experience afterwards. And
Mhm.
yeah, I plan on doing that, but it's so funny because I plan on going to Mount Shasta like in the dead of winter, completely forgetting that it's basically inaccessible for a Floridian like me. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like 10 feet of snow over there right now,
Yeah, I wouldn't
probably.
even know what to do. I have no jacket. I have no coat. I'm from Florida. Like I have
Yeah,
flip-flops. So
right.
like
That's funny. There's large populations right where you are.
that's true. In New Mexico, right?
Mhm.
They're
And Arizona.
everywhere.
They are everywhere.
Interesting.
They exist in a slightly higher frequency, so
That's
no
true.
problemo for them.
That's so true. You're right. I forgot about that. And not to change the subject, but I started learning about Avalon recently.
What's Avalon?
Avalon the realm with King Arthur, that's part of
Oh,
his
yeah.
story. Apparently
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
realm, yeah, where all the fairies and the mythical creatures from the Celtic
Mhm.
druids exist or whatever over there. So
Mhm.
anyways, I'm learning about it slowly, but when it started coming into my reality, I started seeing synchronicities. And
Mm.
I thought that was interesting. And there's an author called Sarah Brexman Cosme. I love her. If you guys
Mm.
are interested in anything cool, she's a past life hypnotherapist. And
Oh,
she,
okay.
yeah, she writes books about this stuff. And one of her books was recently banned, and it was called Hypnosis Guide to Atlantis or something like that. And
Oh,
no one,
you know what? I think Regina Meredith did an interview with her
oh,
after she
probably,
wrote that.
probably,
Hmm.
yeah. It's no one knows why it was banned, but let's be honest. It's talking about Atlantis, the Egyptians, the story. So who knows? But yeah,
Right.
anyways, I just wanted to bring up Avalon and how I'm learning about all the different realms that exist in, here, like literally around us. And it's just such an amazing thing. I love hearing about it.
Well, you're in like a super like high vibe vortex place that has tons of just crazy critters running around.
I had no idea. I don't really
Are you
know.
serious?
I
New
literally, okay, so let
Mexico,
me,
there's like shapeshifters and there's
no.
like all sorts of cryptids and go outside and stargaze. Haven't you seen any light ships?
But that's the thing. Okay, so when I came from Florida, I went directly to California, but as I was passing
Hmm.
through New Mexico, I felt drawn here. And I
Hmm.
do something called following the spiral, or when I see a spiral, I know I'm in the right place because I see it all the
Hmm.
time. So obviously, being in a very Pueblo indigenous type place, there's a lot of spirals because that's their symbol. And I
Hmm.
started seeing it. I was like, you know what? I'm going to settle in truth or consequences. And when I did that, I didn't realize that Truth or Consequences was a big bed of a hot springs, a mineral water, basically.
Hmm.
No idea. So I started
Tons
taking
of
that.
tons of fluorite too.
Yes, I hadn't. Listen,
Yep.
I'm
You
brand
got
new
to
to
send me
this.
a chunk of fluorite. I need it.
I need to go rock hounding because I haven't gone there yet. I've actually just recently saw the petroglyphs. So today
Oh
I
my
went on a
gosh.
hike. Yeah, so I saw the
Wow. Did you
petroglyphs.
connect? Were you able to just like connect with the
Yes.
energy?
So there was this huge rock with petroglyphs on it, and it was actually close to the trail because they have everything blocked off. And
Hmm.
obviously you can cross if you really wanted to, but I wasn't trying to get in trouble. So I
Yeah.
touched this volcanic rock and it just felt like a different type of warmth. Obviously it
Mm.
was hot because we're in the middle of the sun, but the warmth was more,
It'll make your hand hot.
yeah, heart chakra based. That's what it made my
Mm.
heart do. It was like an expansion of my heart chakra.
Oh
So,
wow.
I'll be honest with you. I'm in New Mexico and I was in Truth or Consequences for about a month. I literally was approaching this as a complete newbie. I had no idea what to expect. I was going with the
Hmm.
flow. The hot springs I'm using to heal my alopecia that I'm working on right now. For those of you who
Oh.
don't know, alopecia is hair loss, and they
Mm.
say that you can't do anything about it. I don't believe that. That's Western medicine talk. So,
Mm.
so I'm healing my
So you
alopecia.
think the springs are helping?
I know it's gonna help because what I do is I kind of like set intentions over the water before I even go in there, and I
Mm.
don't even wash it off me anymore. I just get out, put a towel on, put my clothes on, some lotion maybe, and you know, I let the minerals do their thing.
Yeah. Oh, I want to go out there. It sounds so magical. I mean, it's super magical up here too, but like just different. Like, okay, so the reason I was excited that you were in Truth and or Consequences
Mhm.
is that I've heard from at least two people, I think, that I have I have codes. I have codes there I got to pick up. So,
Interesting.
yeah, so maybe I'll have some maybe you and I'll work together in dream time tonight. Maybe I'll get some
That's really
codes.
cool. Tell me
Yeah.
about the codes because I only know a little bit about like light codes and I
Well, the way they said it, it was files. So I'm thinking it's some sort of energetic codes that'll help me in some way. Or like I guess I've heard also that like in other lifetimes you kind of deposit files in different parts of the world and it's kind of like a
Mm,
treasure hunt or something.
that makes so much
In
sense.
this lifetime. And so that's why when like you go to Lake Titicaca in Peru or like the pyramids in Egypt or in Mexico or like the sacred sites, you'll get these like incredible experiences sometimes because a lot of times you've left parts of yourself or codes for yourself in these places that'll help you with your like your healing abilities or whatever your superpower is.
That makes so
So
much sense. I've never heard it
that's why
said that
people
way.
feel drawn to these places too.
Well, that's what I was about to say. I when I passed through Mexico the first time or New Mexico, I felt drawn to come back here and settle for a little bit. And
Mm.
maybe that's why I had light codes here, because I did learn, I have ancestry with indigenous, and I believe it was specifically in New Mexico, but I don't remember how I came up with that.
Oh,
So,
awesome.
anyways, that's interesting. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, after I learned about that, I was like, I want to see if there's any sort of, because in my healing and like I have a really strong connection to the crystalline kingdom. So like, the Oregonite or with, I can light and code jewelry, stuff like that. I looked online and I was like, is there anything in Truth or Consequences, like mines that I could like, any sort of minerals that I could like, make a bracelet with or something? And they have like huge fluorite mines. And so I went on eBay and I looked at a chunk and it was just like blasted me through the screen. I was,
What? Where are
yeah.
those? I need to figure out where those are because I didn't hear about it.
Um, I don't know. I'll look it up and send you a link. But they're somewhere pretty close. I
Yeah, because
mean,
I'm
Truth
going
or
back.
Consequences is really small.
It is. That's why I was like, I've never heard anyone say anything about it. But um, there's a lot there, though. There's a lot. So I'm actually going back in a couple of days to just
Mm.
pick up a couple of things. I have to do that workshop that I was telling you about. And then from there, I'm going to slowly head back to Florida. And I've been called to Jamaica for some reason. So I'm going to go to Jamaica.
Oh, wow.
And I think it has something to do with holistic healing. And I'm getting rid of a lot of like toxic things in my environment. I got rid of all my toxic clothing. So no rayon, no polyester, none of that crap
Oh,
anymore.
wow.
Only high
Nice.
frequency clothing. For those
Mm.
of you who don't know what high frequency clothing it's basically clothing that gives off a high frequency as opposed to BS, which is
Hmm.
polyester, which is made out of,
Plastic.
oils and plastics and things like that. So if you think about it, the reason why this matters is because obviously you want things that are going to be on your body, just as well as things in your body that are actually going to benefit you, not hinder your spiritual growth. And when
Right.
you sweat, the things that are on your body actually gets put like it kind of goes into your pores in a way. So you don't want the
Oh,
plastics.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I when I first started learning about oils, I learned that, well, I mean, first off, your epidermis, your skin is the largest organ of your body, but also drugs are like through your skin contact 10 times more effective than oral or like, I don't know about injections, but I know it's like versus oral. um you can put it on your skin and like it's so much more effective. So yeah, it makes
Mhm.
sense that like if you cover yourself in plastic and rubber and like oil, petroleum, it's
Yeah,
not going to be great
petroleum,
for you.
literally. Like, what was I thinking? I don't know. But, like everyone, we just don't think about it. We're like, oh, it's not that serious. Well, I've got the download and I'm listening now. So,
Hmm.
that was one of the many toxic things I've gotten out of my life. And I think I'm being called to Jamaica because there is a very, very big Rastafari culture there. And
Hmm.
one of their beliefs is, getting rid of toxic things, getting rid of meat, which I'm still on the fence about. I do love me a good
Mhm.
steak.
I stopped eating. I just one day I woke up recently and I was like, no more. And then
Hmm.
I got this really weird craving for fish, and I've been eating so much fish lately. It's weird, but
Yep,
yeah, I don't know what maybe I'm just like lightening the load, you know.
absolutely. Or it's some sort of deficiency that you haven't put your finger on yet. It
I
might
mean,
be iodine or something.
I take iodine, I take my omega 3s, like I don't
Okay.
know what it could be. I'm just like, I don't know, it's strange. But anyway, yeah, a good
Yeah.
steak, I, I don't know if I would turn it down, but I did, like I definitely I don't crave it anymore. I used to a lot. And that's why
Mhm.
like okay, so I had a conversation with Serafina earlier, and we were talking about these kind of like rules that a lot of spiritual kind of YouTuber types will make about, oh, you won't ascend if if you're not vegan, or if
Right.
you don't body build you're not going to ascend or whatever. And it's just, I remember like 4 or 5 years ago, there was that rule about if you get vaccinated you're not going to ascend, or if you're trans you're not going to ascend. I've heard all of them. I've heard all of them, and I decided it's all BS. Why? Because we are God. We
Yep.
are God. Bottom line, we're made of love. That is the building blocks to reality. Love. That's all it is. It's so simple, and I feel like that has, for me, has cut through so much BS,
Absolutely.
you know?
Yes. It
Yeah.
will too. It will too. And I think when you come to that conclusion, everything else will start dropping out of your life. Just like you
Yeah.
said, you all of a sudden stop wanting red meat. And there's a reason why. We don't really know, but
Mhm.
we just gonna follow and allow,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So
cool.
it's cool,
So
right?
what
It's kind
kind
of
of
go
yeah.
ahead.
What kind of, so what do you wear? Is it like natural cotton or linen or
Yes, yes, I did forget to mention that. So I it's easier to find cotton, but cotton's really kind of like mutual. It's kind of in the middle. It's not that really high frequency. It's
mm,
linen that's the highest, linen and wool. But get this, if you wear linen mixed with wool or linen and wool, it would actually cancel itself out. So you kind of have to just choose
oh.
either or. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. They're both 5,000 I think it's hertz is the right measurement. I don't really know, but it's 5,000 something frequency,
Wow.
and
Okay.
it's it's awesome. So I'm wearing a lot of linen now, and it
Mhm.
took me a long time to find something that
I've
didn't make
heard
me.
that before, by the way,
Yeah, yeah, and it took me a
about
long
the
time
linen.
to find something that didn't make me feel like I was wearing a potato sack or something, because linen isn't the most attractive fabric, let's just be real here. But I
Right.
found something, so that's all that matters.
Is it stretchy or is it not stretchy?
So it's not 100% linen, and they don't really do that because they want to be able to add something that will allow it to stretch. So it's usually
Mm.
90% or 80, and it'll be like the other percentage is like something called Velcos or something. I might be pronouncing it wrong. I'm pretty sure I am actually, but anyways,
Mm.
it needs to be able to give a little bit. But there is
Yeah.
100% linen out there. I just don't wear it.
Yeah, I've had stuff like that before, and it does feel a little like it's
Stiff.
so, yeah, it's so stiff. But yeah. No, I've had that same thought before. I was like, "Man, I should really get rid of all my fake ass clothes."
I donated
But
everything.
it
I have
just
like nothing left.
Oh, you
Yeah.
did?
I donated everything,
Wow.
even my shoes. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I think I'm gonna probably name this episode, I don't know. What should I name it? Following the breadcrumbs or keeping your divine appointments?
Ooh, I like that. I like all your names,
That's
so
a good
just
one.
whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm so
Keeping your
grateful.
divine appointments. Because not
Yeah.
a lot of people, I don't think a lot of people would make that leap, honestly. It's a huge leap of faith and a leap of trust, and like, how has it worked out for you, I guess? That's a good question. Like, how
Yes.
has giving up all of your stuff, putting all your stuff in a tiny van and, like, driving across country, like, how has it
I
been?
I'll be honest with you, the only time I ever had doubt was right before I left. I decided to smoke. And just so you know, I don't normally smoke. You know what? Like the
Mm.
garden, the herb. I don't normally smoke. So when I do, I get really, really up there. You know what I'm saying? So
Right. Yeah.
I did it, and that's when the doubt and the fear started coming through. And most would say, "Oh, that's because, you don't do it normally and maybe you just don't need to do it, the paranoia." But no, I needed to feel that. I needed to feel that because I didn't realize that I actually had the fear deep down inside of me, or else it wouldn't have come up when I smoked. So
Mm.
I'm happy that I had that moment because that was the only time I really felt fear. After that, it was just pure excitement, bliss. Even now, I keep looking to my right because I'm looking out of my window because it's so freaking beautiful. It's so
Oh,
freaking beautiful.
I love
I don't
that.
even cover my windows anymore, by the way, which is not very safe. I will add that it's not safe, and I do have protection here. I have two protections. Um,
Mm.
and what I love about keeping my windows uncovered is because when I wake up in the morning, I can see the sunrise literally inches from my face, and it's right
Oh,
here, and I can see the
so
stars
cool.
at night. I can see how bright. Listen, I'm in the desert. The stars
Mhm.
are so freaking bright. I've never seen them like this.
That's why you gotta stargaze. Ask your
Yes.
friends, your star people friends to come out. You'll see
I
a whole
see
bunch
things
of
all the
stuff.
time. I do. I'm practically
Awesome.
blind, so all I see is like blurs of like
Oh.
I gotta get my glasses or something. But
Yeah.
I'm grateful.
Um,
Yes.
that is so cool. I
Thank
love
you.
that. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I have at times, a lot of I would say every single aspect of my life has been tested at this point, like there was a point when I was working with my mentor last year where she was like your guides want you to maybe prepare to just kind of, start packing some stuff. And I was like, what? Why? And it got me into thinking about all of my codependent patterns with my partner. And it got me analyzing and thinking about what was really, really important to me, which I had never really done before. I had just kind of been on autopilot for a really long time. And I mean, there was more to it than like, your mentor being like, pack your shit, you got to leave. But it really did get me um kind of sorting through my patterns with other people. And in turn I told my partner, I'm like, we need to change some stuff because this isn't working. Like this, I don't want to be like this anymore. And I had no idea what she was going to say, but she was like, you know what, I agree, let's start working on
Mm,
this stuff because you're obviously not happy and I don't know if I am either, so we need to start working on some
I
stuff. And
love that.
so yeah, and so we opened up the lines of communication a lot more and we were way more vulnerable and honest with each other. And it's so much more of like an even partnership than it was before. And there's like the resentments, like if anything comes up, like tell me, don't just hide it, don't bury it, don't let it fester. um I think it's made our relationship a lot more healthy, so much more enjoyable. But yeah, for a minute there I was like, "Oh my gosh, am I going to have to like get divorced and like live in a van?" And like I had that exact same kind of plan. I was like, "Oh my gosh, what am I going to do?" But yeah, every single aspect of my life I've had to kind of review this
Mhm.
past year. I've given up almost all of my old friendships because I've noticed patterns of like toxic stuff. And yeah. And now the job. Now I'm gonna phase out of the job and start the healing practice full time. So
Yeah. I'm proud of you.
yeah,
Let's
yeah,
go.
I know my guides are like, come on, get into it already.
Yes.
Come on.
But let's
So
talk about
yeah.
that for a second, not to interrupt you, but that
Sure.
feeling, this is something that we both resonate with, is the feeling that we
Mm,
get when we're not listening, when we know that there needs to be a change that needs to that needs to happen, and we
mm,
are still choosing the opposite. It becomes a full body anxiety. And we think
mhm.
about it all the time, from the time that we wake up in the morning to the time that we go to sleep. And until
Yeah.
you make that decision, you won't get relief.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
someone
basically.
out
And
there is
that's your
feeling that.
yeah, that's your teams, and they're like, "Come
Yeah.
on," they with their little taser
Yes.
sticks or what are those called? Cattle prods.
Yeah, that's what it feels like at the end.
Taser
When
sticks.
you get to the very end,
It
it feels
does.
like a cattle prod for sure.
It really does. It's so uncomfortable and it feels itchy and anxious, and you're just
Yep.
like, "Something's wrong, something's wrong, something's wrong." And, yeah, this job that I've had really served an incredible purpose, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's definitely time to go. I'm not in resonance with anyone that I work with, and it just for a while there, like the environment is so heavy, and I was like, I had this idea that like I was the light. I am the light that's shining through this darkness. And it's like, you know what? Actually, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. You don't have to be so mission focused.
Mhm.
It's not like the job's not going to get done if you're not there.
Right.
And yeah. And I mean, literally, like even energetically, like going into these dark places, thinking that you have feeling like you have a mission, that you're a light worker and a light warrior and all this stuff. It's like, well, the more you zoom out, you are love. Everything is love. And if this is not in resonance for you, that's okay. You can
Yes.
move
That's
on
the
to something
same
else.
lesson. Exactly. I had to learn the same lesson before I quit my 9 to 5. Not right
Mm.
before, but at some point when I was thinking about leaving, that's when I had to learn that. And I considered myself a wounded healer. And I approached it just like how you approached
Yes.
it.
Yep.
Exactly. I went into this place with these people that
Wounded
struggle with.
motivation.
Exactly. People who struggle with mental health issues and homelessness. And I went and
Yep.
I'm like, I can help you. I can do this. And then I learned the difference between helping and being of service. I needed to
Mm.
be of service. I needed to be there, hold the space for them, and then lead by example by doing
Yep.
nothing more than what my job required me to do.
Right.
Not going above and
Right.
beyond. Going above and beyond is a very selfish thing because you're saying that you don't believe they can do it themselves. So
Absolutely.
it's the opposite.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the funny part is that it was with the staff that I had these issues with, not with the residents. I love those residents. I
Hmm.
love them. I love them. They're so fun to hang out with. It was the staff. They were so like, and I know that these are all like shadow aspects of myself. They're all mirrors of parts of me that I still have not fully accepted.
I love
But
that.
well, I mean, it's true. But like once, I'm not really
Uh-oh.
sure
You
like
still there?
how. Oh, I'm here. Are you still there?
Your
Hello?
camera's off.
Oh, is it? What?
I think we
Oh,
might
my
have lost
camera.
connection.
Oh, here, let me pause. Hi guys, sorry about that. We had a little technical issue. I was gonna say that it was about the staff. Yeah, they're all reflections of me, and it's all in the process. But just noticing that, just knowing that that's what it is such a big first step as far as healing goes. But yeah, it's time for me to move on. But anyway, you
Yes.
were talking about the types of people that come to see you and like what they typically want. Like
Right.
what kind of work do you do with people as far as that goes?
Well, it's so funny because if you were to go onto my website or my link tree, it says psychic medium. It
Mm,
says this is a reading, and you expect it to be just a regular, hey, tell me about my life type reading. But it's so
mhm,
much more than that. I get a
mm,
chance to hold space for people that are really struggling with things. And a lot of the common things are just like what you just explained is they're feeling like a change needs to happen and they're afraid to make the decision, to take
mm,
that step, to take the leap.
yeah,
So, whether it be a divorce, leaving a toxic family member, leaving their 9 to 5 job, whatever it is, they're afraid to do it and they're looking for confirmation or some sort of validation. But
yeah,
what's really great is not only do I give them that information based off of whatever my guides and their guides have to provide to them,
mm,
what's great is I tell them what to do next. That's the most important thing. What are the next steps? What can you take with you? What's the homework assignment?
mm,
Because I want to make sure that I'm helping in some way and not just providing information and then they go off and they're even more stressed than before. So
right, yeah,
what's interesting is without saying too much, one of the sessions I had earlier got really, really deep. And I've only had maybe 3 or 4 sessions like this where the person is on the verge of doing something permanent, if you know what I mean.
mm.
And they're looking at me as their last ditch effort to find a reason to still be here.
Oh
And
my
when I
god,
tell you, oof, first of all, I'm not a licensed therapist. I just want to say that. I am not a
yeah,
licensed therapist. I have to make that very clear before I say anything because the last thing I want to do is say something that does the opposite of what I wanted it to do. So
right,
I make it clear and I just, in those moments, in those sessions, I really take my time and I fully listen to what their guys need me to tell them.
mm.
And the connection that I made today was so emotional because his story was very close to my story.
Oh really?
Specifically, the first one that I told you about the 2 events that happened that I forgot,
Yeah,
it had something to do with bullying. Because the whole
mm.
reason why I wanted to leave early was because I was being severely bullied in school.
Yeah, that's
So
so.
the reason why I brought that up is because other than it being such a heavy session and, I had to make sure I approached it in a specific way, what
Mm,
I love is everyone I connect with to learn something for me as well. I'm
mm,
never not the student. I'm always the student and the
mm,
teacher, but I'm constantly learning through these connections. And I
yeah,
love that. they're here for me to tell them what to do, and I'm over here listening, and I'm getting downloads as well for
Yeah,
myself. So
right.
I love that.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's so heavy. What kind man, that's a big responsibility.
It's not even a responsibility at this point. It's like a stepping stone to the next thing, you know? I needed to be in this role to have more confidence in the next thing that I'm doing,
Mm,
you know? And I was just I had to humble myself. I was just like, I got to be a psychic medium even though there's a million psychic mediums out there. What makes me special, you know? But I figured that
right.
out. I found out what made me special. So,
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what I thought when, my guides told me to start this channel. You know,
yeah.
like, what do I have to say that a million other podcast interviewer, spiritual types haven't already said? And, yeah, I don't know, I just had to do it. I just had to get over my fear and
Yeah.
self-rejection and, self-esteem, self-image issues and just do
Mhm.
it. And I'm so happy that I did because, like, I've met you, I've met several other people. It's like it's so cool the people that I've met. So,
I love
yeah.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I
Oh,
like I wake up every morning and I'm so happy. I remember once upon a time, and this is when I had my 9 to 5, I'd wake up and say, I don't want to go to work. Sometimes I would even cry, you know,
mm,
back when I had certain jobs because I didn't want to go to work. I would wake
yeah.
up in such a bad mood. And I wake up now and I want to cry because I'm so happy. I want to cry because I'm
That's
so
so
happy. And
cool.
my cat's laying on my back or my side or my neck, and she's huge, by the way. So she's
Mm.
like,
Oh,
you
I've seen
know,
her.
she's
She's a big
she's
girl.
she's a big girl and she likes to lay on me, especially if it's really cold in the van. So
Yeah.
she'll cuddle up with me and stuff. And I just want to add how I got the van. I didn't have money saved. I had
Oh,
$0 when I got this van. Everything has
really?
been purposely brought into my reality by simply me trusting that I will have everything that I need in that moment. If it was for me, then it will come into my reality. I trusted that. And I got to the point, and this is the most important thing for those of you out there that are trying to manifest something. It's not about having the confidence to ask out loud for it. It's about pretending that you already have it. I
Mm,
literally pretended like I had the money, so I would reach out to people with the van that I wanted, and I would pretend like I had the money and go look at it. I wasted people's time. Yes, I did.
yeah.
I went out there and I looked at the van, and I went online and I had all these, you know how when you go on your phone on your browser and you have all these pages pulled up, like
Mhm.
I had like 80 pages, of all these different things that I wanted for my van, you
Yeah.
know? And little by little, I got it. I converted it for $125 is what I paid the guy that helped me, and then the conversion itself was like 1,200 because of the materials were expensive as heck, and I didn't have time to look for
Mm,
free wood. I just went to Lowe's and I bought wood, which is expensive. So
yeah.
either way, I say all that to say it doesn't matter what you see in your bank account. If you want it and it is meant for you to have it right now, then you will see it. But
Yeah.
first you have to believe that you are worthy of having it.
Mm. Which, for most of us is like the biggest challenge,
Yes.
honestly. And that's okay. That's okay. You can take your time. This isn't a race. It's a lifestyle. So, you got to start somewhere. And honestly, man, I don't even know. I never would have seen myself doing any of this stuff a year ago.
Yep.
So,
Same here.
just one step at a time. Just try, look at yourself in the mirror, make eye contact, and say, I love you, and see how that feels. And if that feels itchy and scratchy and not great, keep doing it because
Keep
it's
doing it.
working. It's
Yes.
working. My mentor, she even told me, she's like, give yourself kisses every morning. And I was like, oh God, that's awful. I don't want to do that. But I did. And then I started hugging myself. And then I started telling myself I love myself. And it's like, it's progressive and it's like, it's one day at a time. And also I would say the biggest takeaway is like, know that there's no shame in any of this. There's no, like, don't judge the judger. Just accept yourself for where you're at first of all, love yourself exactly where you're at, and just make it a practice. And it
Yes.
gets easier. It gets way easier the more
I
you do.
100% back that up. Absolutely. I think a lot of people, they look in their past and they're like, well, when the last time I tried this, this happened, et cetera, et cetera. And then I became this person, blah, blah, blah. It's like,
Flush
look,
that toilet.
exactly. Like you have to love every version of yourself that's ever
Mhm.
existed. That
Yep.
is very important. Every version of you, because there's a reason why you made decisions that you made. We're not going to go into it, but there's a reason. Just know
Yeah.
that person has evolved into who you are today, and it will keep
Right now.
evolving.
And the
Yes.
person that's here right now at this moment is not the same person.
Yes,
They didn't
exactly.
have the same knowledge, they didn't have the same mentality, none of it. So, yeah, that's how I feel. Because I've done a lot of sketchy stuff in my past that, like, could
I
have
think we all have a little bit at least.
exactly. That's kinda like, "Ooh, I don't know if I wanna look at
Oh,
that." But it's like, the more you look at it and the more you accept yourself, it
yeah.
really does change your reality. So,
Yes, yes, yes. So
yeah.
I want to say really quick here, going back to van life because this is such a big thing that people are talking about recently. It's basically a big fad, and some
Mhm.
people go from wanting the most simplest van build that maybe only costs them a couple thousand to wanting a $300,000 van build.
Wow.
And you, regardless of how much it is, it doesn't matter. You will have it. I'm not trying to contradict myself here, but sometimes you do have to humble yourself a little bit and know that just because it doesn't look like what you're seeing in reality that's coming to you, it doesn't look like what you thought it was going to look like. It doesn't
Mhm.
mean that you won't have what you want eventually. So I say that because, van life is the symbol of freedom right now. People can't afford rent, they can't afford
Yeah,
their mortgage anymore. The cost of living has risen a lot, and people are struggling. So
right,
they're settling. I mean, I see so many RVs out here, so many different vans doing the same thing that I'm doing every 5 seconds. They're everywhere.
right.
And the reason why I say that is because this is a reality that is, how would I say it, is realistic. It's very
Mm,
much realistic. But what's most important is your intention. And then also, like, not running is another thing too. Not running
mm,
from your problems by coming out here thinking that you're going to live this sort of Wild West story, or West Side Story, I mean, and it's going
mm,
to be all dandy, because no, you're also out here in the elements. A lot of other people are doing it as well, and these people can't get a place for a specific reason, if you know what I mean. So
right. Yeah,
so it's exactly. So you have to look at it from a point of view of, one, knowing that you're always going to be divinely protected. So I'm not trying to
mhm,
cast any type of fear in anyone's mind, but your
right.
intention is so important. And then also being able to accept your manifestations, whether they look like what you thought they were going to look like when they come in.
Mm,
So those are lessons that I've had to learn. And I just want to share that.
yeah, yeah, I mean, you ask for things and then they happen in these, like, really bizarre sort of
Yeah.
ways that you
It's like,
don't expect, or
sure.
they don't look the way that you want, and, yeah, just being grateful. Being grateful is probably the most one of the most important things.
Absolutely. Like, I don't have a heater and AC unit in here. I'm
But
not
you
prepared.
do have a giant Maine Coon cat.
Exactly. Like I was zero. I was not prepared. I don't know. I'm from Florida. I don't know the seasons. Okay.
Right.
We have one season and it's hot and humid. So me being in New Mexico, not being prepared during the day because it's getting hot in the afternoon officially,
Mm,
and then it's cold at night.
yeah.
So I'm getting to the point where I'm like, okay, not only did I pass through New Mexico to California and was brought back to New Mexico for a reason, I was comfortable there. It's the
Mm,
perfect climate, you
yeah.
know? And now I'm starting to phase back to Florida so I can go to Jamaica for whatever
Mm,
reason. I don't know. I'm just gonna go because I follow
yeah,
divine, whatever. So
that's it. Yeah, you're following the breadcrumbs.
following the
It's
breadcrumbs,
ah,
exactly.
it's so cool. You are literally living the dream.
Thank you. And I hear it all the time. And I have to tell you, like I tell everyone else that tells me that, you could do this too if you really wanted to. And you will. You
Absolutely.
will.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm 80% there.
All
But yeah,
right.
I have a couple of little tweaks I gotta do. But, anyway, I okay, so we're at 109.378940. We should probably, probably call it a day.
Yeah.
And I still haven't figured out how to end these things. So I'm just going to say thank you so much, everybody, for watching. And thank you, Tenesha, for being on the show. And it was a really fun conversation. And I'm so glad that you're doing so awesome. You know, like you're
Sure.
crushing it, killing it, whatever the kids say these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do another catch up as well.
Yeah.
But I'll put all your stuff in the bottom, and so if people want to get a hold of you, they can get to your website and get all the socials and all that stuff. She's a great teacher, you guys. So I highly advise you get some sessions with her because she's really good. I've gotten a lot of work with her, so she's awesome. And I will end the recording.
Well, I
All
want to
right.
go ahead and add one last thing if
Oh,
you don't mind.
sure. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So this is just a message for everyone that watched this video. I just want to let you know just how absolutely insanely powerful you are. You do have divine senses. These senses, again, are going to allow you to have a better, more fulfilled life. And if you're interested in learning more about that, please join me on yourstorycoach.org. That's my website, yourstorycoach.org, or you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at DreamWalker Tenesha, and that's Tenesha. I do free readings on Instagram and YouTube right now for a couple of weeks. We'll see. We'll see if I continue. I'm not sure yet.
Hmm.
But I do free readings, and I'm always doing something. So follow me, in-person workshops and also online classes. But this is my mission right now. My mission is to teach this because of the coming times. We don't know what's happening, and we don't need to know.
Yeah,
All we need to know is what role we're going to play when it happens. And you need to get clear on
exactly.
that yesterday. So connect with me.
All right. All right, guys. Have a great morning, evening, afternoon. See you guys later.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.